Hello, so fam, what's up, what it do? Welcome to K&M Witchery or Readings by K&M. I am Kat Nicoletta Monroe, for those of y'all who may not know, and I'm excited to present to you a pick a card that will help you to identify the spiritual lessons that are currently at play within any obstacles that you may be undergoing right now. I am a highly intuitive person, to say the least, so I will be using my clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, clairtangence in some cases to identify your present energetic state. I will be overlooking some of the general obstacles that you may be facing at this time, and of course identify the spiritual lessons that are likely at play for you, whilst also providing some very practical spiritual advice for you to feel motivated to push through. In the extended, we're going to get even more specific with some advice on how it is to overcome, alongside any time frames that you should be made aware of, like how long it might take for you to undergo this, as well as some channeled messages from your higher self and or your future state self once this obstacle or challenge has been overcome, the lessons has been learned, and now you can move on to who knows what. Perhaps it's going to be another lesson, perhaps it's going to be a nice little prize, perhaps it's going to be a mix of both. At the end of the day, this human experience is what it is, and I will never negate the challenges that do exist, although there is beauty in everything, and you have signed up for this, soul fam. So I am so excited to dive into this. Let's identify these decks. Okay, so we got pile 1, pile 2, pile 3, and pile 4. No offense to my crystal queens, although I resonate more with the rocks that I pick up on my hikes. Every single one of these actually correlates to my own spiritual lessons, so that may or may not have something to do with your energy here at play. We'll see. Either way, I'll be sharing some of those stories with you, and of course diving into everything else. Please trust your gut. Okay, you can resonate with more than one pile, as you can be undergoing more than one obstacle. You know, sometimes when it rains, it really does pour. So take what resonates with you, okay? If your eyes are dotting between a couple piles, just know that there's likely something in both or more of those piles for you. If you're hearing a consistent number in your head or multiple, just know, as I just mentioned, there's likely something in there for you. Please be sure to like and subscribe, as I primarily read for those whom are subscribed first, and then I extend my energy outward. This helps me get really specific, okay? So be sure to join the Soul Fam if, of course, you feel pulled. In the extended, everything's going to be linked down below, so if you do want to keep the party going, that's where you're gonna find everything, okay? Everything's gonna be linked. I also just want to mention that it's really hot up in here, so if you hear some white noise, or my AC just going or something, just please ignore it. I hope it's not going to bug you guys too much. I know it definitely bothers me, but nevertheless, yeah, a girl's got to keep cool, especially while she is channeling. So without further ado, let's move on to pile number 1. Hey Soul Fam, so if you chose pile number 1, there may definitely be some messages in here for you. You have chosen what I like to refer to as my grounding rock. I found this as I was on my very first hike up in the mountains of Alberta with my best friend. It's quite worn, as you can see. This is actually one that I pick up when I do need to bring myself back to a very peaceful state. I am clairtangent, amongst other things, meaning that when I touch something, it activates my other psychic senses, and I'm actually getting brought back to the stream that I had picked this particular bad boy up. The lesson learned from here is in and around more so resilience and patience, as it has taken me quite some time to be able to accomplish my goals of hiking up in the mountains. I never lived by the mountains before this, so it took a lot of endurance on my part, and it does really bring me a sense of calm and knowing that everything truly works out when you're in the present state. It is the best way for you to receive the messages as you require from your intuition right here and right now. You're also going to be a lot more alert and aware of your next step when you are in your body at all times. So there are definitely some really beautiful grounding techniques that may or may not be shared with you here in this pile. I have no idea really what is underlining here. So without further ado, honestly, let's just dive in. First, we have the Four of Pentacles and the King of Pentacles. So channeling in some messages here for you guys. I can really sense that there is an aspect of yourself that may very well be holding back, or you may be really called to reserve yourself. Notice how both of these women here are really holding close to their heart something or other. This is holding their home, so you may really been feeling really confined to your home, really reserving your energy, perhaps maybe kind of going into more of that hermit phase, unwilling to share yourself, share your light, really holding that light close to your chest. Now in this deck, there is both a male and a female king, so I do find it very interesting that you have the female, the feminine energy coming through as one that is taking charge. The King of Pentacles is one that is very well in control of their abundance, of their sustenance and such. Messages coming through here for y'all. Let's see. I just hear self-preservation. You may really be holding back right now. Yeah, there's a form of protection here. And yet, you're also being called to step out of that as well, having that trust that it's okay now to spread your wings. There is a fear of an unknown that is coming through. Like you're unsure of what really lies ahead outside of this comfort zone. You've created this really beautiful life for yourself, a place of predictability, if you will. You know what's coming. The question that comes in, though, is if you're truly allowing yourself to heal, or if you're isolating yourself enough to not ever be triggered. So potentially there's my AC, sorry about that. That could potentially be the lesson that's at play here for you guys. Let's actually dive into more of the cards that came out. We have balance. We have heal. Communicate. And rebirth. Last few cards, we have transformation. Freedom. And protection. Okay. You're really being called, Soul Fam, right now to step out of your shell. To really know that you are divinely guided to do what it is that you are to do. I just heard Libra, so you could very well have Libra in your chart. It doesn't necessarily have to be the case. I tend to stay away from specificities like that, but nevertheless, I was called to mention. You went in, you hermited for quite some time, you protected yourself, likely from people and experiences, places perhaps that had caused you harm. And you transmuted. I know this is transformation, but what's really cool about butterflies is when those caterpillars build up their cocoons, they completely like melt into them, if you will, and they form a brand new being. It's like there's this really beautiful alchemization. Oh God, Mercury retrograde's already messing with me. alchemization that has occurred with you, that you have literally turned into someone new, and you're no longer that person that would allow others to hurt you. You are no longer weak, for lack of better words. There is strength in your vulnerability. And there is a lesson here of receiving the value that is rightfully yours. There's a lot of pentacles here at play, so you're holding yourself back from really obtaining so much more of that happiness, of that stability that, again, is rightfully yours. You could very well be imagining a kingdom for yourself. You're getting a little delulu, and that's okay. Sometimes being delulu is the solulu, meaning that being delusional is oftentimes the solution, especially when it comes to manifestations, right? Oftentimes what it is that we are seeking for ourselves, soul fam, reside outside of our cages, and you're getting pulled to be free, to choose to step out of the confines that you have created for yourself that have served you at one point or another. It has allowed you to balance yourself, to find harmony within yourself. Perhaps maybe your feminine and masculine entities needed time to really unionize within yourself. Dolphins are incredibly spiritual animals. They're ones that really, that play. It's not just about healing so much, soul fam, that you can never have any fun anymore. And I think you've been confined so long that you've created this really beautiful comfort zone for yourself, although I'm really sensing, soul fam, that it no longer serves you. And so the messages here at play are that you are highly protected. You can stand firmly knowing that even if lightning strikes, you will still stand. You will still be able to overcome. You are divinely guided and divinely protected. And that protection comes from within. I know we like to call upon our angels and God and the universe and anyone and whomever it is that you may believe in, your ancestors, those whom have passed on, and that's all external from you to a very large degree. Cultivating that understanding of protection comes from within. And the only way to prove to yourself that you in fact are safe is to trust in the process and step out. With healing here, I literally got brought to that scene in Jurassic Park where that dude's like, life finds a way. And that's also because they used frog DNA in order to, I guess, create these like dinosaurs and such, thinking that, oh, they're all going to be female. And yet life finds a way in the sense that like it allowed itself to transmute some more of that masculine energy, and thus these dinosaurs were able to breed outside of the captivity. And everything else kind of occurred from there. You guys know that movie, I'm assuming everybody does. But nevertheless, it's like there's this really big emphasis here on you being so deeply in your feminine energy that now what's being called is that masculine energy, for you to step out. Now, feminine energy is stable. I know that oftentimes we would look at the male energy as one that is stable, although all energy, feminine and masculine energy, is masculine energy in essence. Female, feminine, true feminine nature and energy is structure. The masculine is the sun. The feminine is the moon. It's the woman that is able to have and bear a child using the energy that the masculine gives her. And so you've really created this home for yourself, and yet it could very well be feeling as though it's not enough for you anymore. You're being called to step out. Perhaps maybe it's also to teach. With communicate coming out here, nails. With communicate coming out here, I feel like it's like you're sending out like a bat signal, you know, or you're perhaps maybe waiting for one. But the thing is, though, is there perhaps maybe an urge for you to speak about your experiences, about your dark nights of the soul, about the things that perhaps people are more afraid to speak out about. And the time is now for you to do that. The best way that you know how, perhaps it's going to be by starting up a podcast or showcasing it on YouTube or on Reels or TikTok, things like that. It could be throughout a book as well if you want to write it out. You also don't necessarily even have to show your face. Okay, there are definitely many methods of communication that can still allow you to feel protected. You can use an alias. You can wear a mask. You can literally just have a black screen, and you are using audio and your voice to communicate, right? Again, hiding behind paper and pen and ink is also a really beautiful way to be able to express your inner cultivations and alchemy out into the world. There is a deep power within you, Soul Fam, that as of right now, as far as this lesson is concerned, you may not even be fully aware of. You may not even be allowing yourself to actually step into who you can truly be, who you fantasize yourself about being and creating. There's a sense of community that you may very well be longing for, especially with that communicating bat signal that's being sent out. You want someone that's going to hear your vibrations, and I want to tell you, Soul Fam, that they exist. Although you will never know until you step out of that cage. You're meant to fly. Those years and days and weeks of you hiding about, crawling about, are over. You have grown wings. And what a shame is it for you to stay locked up in the cage when you are meant to thrive and fly and be free. And yes, authenticity can oftentimes be scary, and it's still worth it. You're protecting yourself under the illusion and guise that you will never be hurt so long as you stay put. Although when we're being pushed from deep within to step out and we suppress that, what we're really doing is we're in a way sweeping it up under the rug so much so, Soul Fam, that pile eventually will become too big to ignore, and it'll eventually become quite toxic. We can become sick from all of the dust that we're just sweeping under the rug instead of out that door. And you can take small steps. Because even as the snake sheds its skin, it takes some time. It's a slower process. Things don't always happen overnight, Soul Fam. So give yourself some grace in knowing that you can still take small steps. Perhaps maybe for you, it's not even about showcasing it out to the public, but just getting started. And like, say it is about writing, you know, you could just start writing, just put that pen to paper, or just start typing it out for yourself. Get it out of your system, out of your own cage. Because whatever's living within you needs to be released. You're harboring so much within you that it's actually going to be causing you more pain, more heaviness. So lighten up your load. You're likely also going to be making some money from this, should you trust yourself enough to eventually come out with this. You could be very well teaching other people as well. You could very well be paying it forward through your own set of examples of how it is that you have overcome particular fears, how you have healed, what you have done within your time in hermit and self-preservation to then thrive. I'm hearing step by step. You could literally be sharing your methods of healing, of how it is that you found this balance within, of how you healed and transmuted yourself. I keep hearing the time is now, the time is now. This grounding rock, honestly, ground yourself into your body, feed yourself the right types of affirmations that you require beyond just the I ams. Utilize all of the different chakra points. How do you feel? How do you want to feel? You have this really beautiful imagination. I can really sense that here, where thoughts become things. I am hearing. So perhaps maybe, as opposed to getting down to the itty-gritty and specifics and the reality of the situation, allow yourself to be a little bit more delusional. Act as if you already have obtained what it is that you are truly desiring, what you're being pulled for, and imagine yourself receiving the level of abundance, appreciation, acknowledgement, safety that you desire. How does that make you feel? Use that as your form of motivation. Rather than focusing on how you feel right now by adopting the false illusions that you're not worthy, that you're not valuable, because you are. And I can tell that there's been a lot of pain. Perhaps maybe people misjudged you, or your lack of confidence had stopped you so many times from being all that you can be. I'm hearing stop and go, stop and go. So this is likely something that you had restarted time and time again, although we must push past those challenges and know that they will exist, soul fam. I'll never be one of those readers and those coaches that will promise you a life without ever experiencing some sort of pain, some sort of anguish or anger, sadness and such, because it is a part of this human experience. And sometimes the healing journey can be a trap where you think that you are always needing to fix yourself and be ready and get more education and knowledge in a certain standpoint, or lose more weight perhaps, or heal this one childhood trauma, if you will. So much so that it actually refrains you from living in the present moment, because you're constantly living in the past or you're constantly living in the future. You're being called to be here right now. The true healing comes within each minute of every day. Pushing forward with that masculine-based energy of movement. And that is what is going to be able to fuel the creation, that feminine nature, because you have so much of it here. Regardless if you're a male tuning in, we all have both polarities of yin and yang within us. It's a matter of cultivating what it is that we need as we need it. The true healing journey is being present in the moment and allowing yourself to create, to step forward, And if things from the past come up and if challenges come up, you deal with it right then and there using the tactics that have worked for you before as you need them, rather than creating an illusion of a challenge and thinking you're doing yourself a favor by healing yourself now so that you won't have to do it later. If only it was that easy. You could also be very highly psychic and in tune with other people's emotions, and you're very hyper vigilant. Okay, you may refer to yourself as an empath. Empathy is in many ways a trauma response, although I cultivate that and use that more so as a freaking superpower. Although the empathy is best brought forward with an external energy, meaning that like it's really difficult sometimes for us to sit in our own emotions and our own experiences because we can't predict our own fate and our own future. We could only have those pieces of synchronicities and clues and dreams and such like that. Although the whole point of the human experience is to allow ourselves to, in fact, be human. I think that some of y'all have really dove quite deep into the spiritual component, which is beautiful, although we must ground that spiritualness and essence within ourselves into the true human experience, because that is what's going to allow us to grow. That's what's going to allow us to step forward and obtain that abundance that is rightfully ours. The dreams, the Lulu that you have, it's no coincidence. Your talents, your desires, your power and intellect is no coincidence. That is a part of your purpose. And oftentimes, people wonder their entire lives, what's my purpose? What's my destiny? Always looking for that one thing. Although, so fam, you are multidimensional. You're not just one thing. This is why you're able to change as needed, to transmute and transform as needed, to shed as needed, to balance as needed. And utilizing that throat chakra will allow you to build that community and a new safety net. I am feeling that perhaps a lot of people turned away from you, that you turned away from them. You've taken it upon yourself to break a lot of ancestral or karmic loops by removing yourself from them. And that's beautiful. That is powerful. Spirit's just asking, what's next? You've accomplished so much on your own. And there comes a point, soul fam, that you need more. We are social creatures after all. We need the connectivity, and this is coming from like a 2-4 profile in human design, like the hermit in me. Perhaps maybe that is your human design. Look into that too, if you feel pulled. But even the hermit needs to go out and get some fresh air. Step outside of your comfort zone. Because the cage will always be there. The home will be there. And if not this precise one, you can always create a new one. You are safe. The true home lies within you. It's this meat bag that we have reincarnated in. The rest is that's just material. That's 3D. Home is anywhere. Home is where the heart is, and your heart is within yourself, within the confines of your body. Trust that what it is that you are creating for yourself will reflect on the outside. And so you may very well be called as of recently to step out, to network. Perhaps people are literally reaching out to you saying, hey, I want to be your friend. So why not? Because who knows? You're already deciding that they're going to hurt you, or this experience is going to be painful. But what if it's going to be everything that you need right here and right now? Even if the pain may come later, who knows? We'll dive into that in the extended. But right now, it's okay to be selfish. Right now, it's okay to be free, to be trusting, to have faith over the fear. Because you are no longer that person anymore, soul fam. You have changed. You have. What are you doing with that change? What was it all for? What purpose did it really truly serve? Because it's meant to reach far further than what you're allowing for yourself right now, soul fam. So I'm calling you out. And I hope you receive the invitation to step out, to send that message, to write out that blog, to create that podcast, to speak proudly. Because it's within all of your lessons that you're actually going to be able to help so many more people along the way. So many people who need someone like you, who is brave enough to go within. Most people are too afraid to even do that. And yet look at you. You broke away from family, from friends, from people who didn't belong. Even if they were the ones that decided to walk away, so be it, fine. The universe offered you challenges and you cultivated, alchemized them. Pay it forward. Not only for the sake of others, soul fam, but for yourself. Make it worth it. Ground yourself. Get into your body, get out of your mind. You're doing a lot of thinking. And that thinking is keeping you very stagnant. You're thinking about the past, you're thinking about the future. And even if you're believing that you're in the present moment, all of those limiting beliefs that are coming up for you are those that are from the past. But the only way out is through. The truest healing occurs through the experience, through the action. We have to have the balance. Right now, you're creating the illusion that, oh, I have that balance. And yet, if you were truly balanced enough, you would trust it enough to step out again. It's that reoccurring message here for you guys. I think you're ready to show the world, to show yourself who you really truly are and what this was all for. So I wish you the best of luck in that. And if this had resonated with you, please give it a little like, comment down below, comment a butterfly down below if this resonated with you, so I'll know which pile you're from. Feel free to comment anything that you'd like, any sort of feedback. I hope that it really helped to motivate you. If you are interested in the extended, the link is down below. You're able to access it. We'll look into the time frame here. In particular, I am excited to channel in those messages from your higher self, from your future self state, to let you know what happens after you step out of this comfort zone that you have created for yourself and what new comfort zone awaits for you. until you're called to step out of that one and create a new one and a new one after that. Because after all, life is a revolving door. In and out we go, and you're going to have this really beautiful opportunity to shine and to hermit. There's a balance in everything. So I hope it helped. If this is where we end, that's cool. Check out another pile if you're feeling drawn to it, or don't. Otherwise, I'll see y'all in the extended or in a future video. I love you, soul fam. All the best to you. You got this. Hey, what's up? What's good? Pile number 2. Welcome on in. I'm so excited that you are here. You've chosen this guy right here. I don't really have a name for it, like all my other stones pretty much do, but this one was collected right next to my building where I used to live downtown Calgary, and it signifies a very long time of, I want to say, like standstill for me. I moved there in 2020, and within the first couple of months that I'd moved, well, we already know what 2020 encompassed, right? And I was all by myself, and this particular location had brought forth forced and yet wished upon healing that I really needed. It rejuvenated me. It was a time of hardship and dark nights of the soul and success in that. So I just swallowed pretty hard when I was like reminiscing about that. I am clear tangent, so when I touch on things, it kind of brings me back to that. And I will say that although everyone else, most people in the world, I can't speak for everyone, but most people dread 2020. But for me, even in the hardship, it was one of the best years of my life in a way, because it forced me to heal. It was also the year that I went about, like, I think it was like 180 something days without a single hug, where I really had to rely on myself. So I'm curious what lies behind these cards, especially in particular to this stone here. So let's see, let's dive right on in. The first card we have is the Emperor. Now, I do want to mention that there are 2 Emperor cards in this particular deck, so it's very interesting that this one is the one that came out. The second card we have is the Chariot. And my nose is starting to itch. Before I place down all of the other cards, channeling in some of the energies here, I can really sense that you're looking to get away from some negativity, some toxicity, perhaps maybe the control of others. If this isn't something externally from you, which the rest of the cards will absolutely help bring forth, this could just very well be lots of toxicity. I really wanted to say narcissism there, but toxic kind of interfered. So perhaps maybe there's some toxic narcissism that you may be healing from. I'm really getting pulled to the strings attached to this particular Emperor. And again, like, my throat chakra is very blocked off. This could be an aspect of yourself or of your past that you feel really tied to, that you're unable to move away from. Some extreme hardships. If this is very personal and you're not escaping from someone, as I believe some of you may be, and my hand really wants to tremble, but if this is personal, then this could very well mean that you're having difficulties pulling away from dark thoughts, for lack of better words. Like, I'm hearing like a pit. You could very well be experiencing your own dark night of the soul right now. And if that's not the case, then you just feel stuck to someone. that you can't seem to escape from, although perhaps maybe that's what the challenge is, right? It is how to move on and how to move forward. The Chariot in here is on a snail. It's very slow moving. So this could very well be a long journey, a long time coming wish. Like I mentioned, my Calgary experiences here, it really was a year plus long experience for me to heal, to purge aspects of myself that were instilled by others, perhaps maybe some limiting beliefs. Let's see what the other cards have in store before I continue on. We have freedom. Okay. Power. Yeah, this is a trigger warning already. This could very well be some sort of narcissist or someone you're looking to get away from. We have collaborate and death. It could also be, soul fam, that darkness within you. Okay, because I'm reading this both ways, so bear with me. I'm looking to include as many people in this pile as possible. It could be that darkness within you could be the passing of a loved one, perhaps, or an absolute ending. I'm hearing a relationship. There could be a marriage that's coming to an end. Someone who really like broke your heart. Like my hand's trembling. Okay, this is something that I'm hearing a tough pill to swallow. Not that I'm diagnosing anyone, because narcissistic personality disorder is only someone that a licensed psychotherapist could really offer, right? And I don't know, y'all. This is, of course, a YouTube reading after all. But the tendencies of narcissism is one that is at first very hidden. It's very subtle. Like you don't really expect them to hurt you in the way that they end up hurting you, right? It's a big form of manipulation. There could be a lot of lies, right? So taking the narcissistic undertones out for a hot minute, even though that is quite prevalent for, I'm really sensing a lot of y'all tuning in, but for those that may not be applying to, it could be perhaps maybe like a marriage, a relationship, a partnership of sorts. It could be business and such, where someone had really deceived you, someone had promised you one thing, had really lifted you up in one regard, was telling you they're going to help you in a certain way or be with you forever or be faithful. I'm hearing as well, like this is really going a lot of ways, and yet out of nowhere they've deceived you. Or if this is an aspect of yourself that you're having difficulties moving away from, and it's a long journey, and you see that, you know that, like you're very well aware that you are riding on a fucking snail, right? It could mean that perhaps maybe an ending, a death of sorts, a family member, a divorce, if it's not a physical death, some sort of transformation. It hit out of nowhere, you know. It was a surprise, and you feel it was unfair. And I am sensing, honestly, there's a lot of anger intertwined in all of this. Aries may be a play in this. You may have strong Aries. Someone else may have strong Aries, but that aside, it just might be that there is a need right now to really strengthen the awareness within yourself that you can conquer and you can move on. And I think for my pile twos here, the soul fam tuning in, this could be something or someone, an experience in general that you're having a really difficult time moving away from. And that's your spiritual challenge here. It's finding the strength in being free from such dark pulled energies here. Whether it's from the self, by another, or through death. There's some sort of ending that has taken place here. Let me just lay out the rest of the cards here. We have well-being. and beauty. Last card, we have standstill. Interesting. I mentioned that word in here as well. Now, I did not at all have the opportunity to see any of these cards. I was doing my best to accumulate a lot of these energies with the cards facing down. So I had no idea what got into a lot of these. It's a good thing because I feel like this pile here would have brought me into some form of a discomfort and shock in a way. I will say one thing, Sophim, I do understand what it is to be dealing with a narcissistic individual in your life, and how shameful you feel for loving them, for caring for them, and again, taking the narcissism outside, perhaps maybe just overcoming something that feels so controlling and enraptured within you can be very difficult, and it is possible. Okay, I really want to put that out there. If at all you would be interested, right here is my website to book a reading with me, a hypnotherapy package with me, whatever it is that you might require, okay, to help you heal. I just want you to know that there are methods available to you and resources available to you should you feel called and pulled, okay? Health is absolutely a staple for you right now. Your overall well-being, there is an aspect of grounding, of rejuvenation. A dark night of the soul is honestly what I am hearing here. A dark night of the soul, by the way, is an absolute transformation from within, where you are able to look at the quote-unquote darkness within you, that shadow aspect of yourself, and allow that to be the thing that transforms you and moves you forward. And no matter what it is that you do, you're having a difficulty running from it because you're required to be still, to feel it. Oftentimes, we want to run and dissociate. And I am sensing that perhaps maybe, Sopham, you have dissociated in one form or another. And I keep hearing, well, I keep crying. That's good, I guess. But even through those tears, are you judging yourself for it? Are you convincing yourself that now is not the time? And are you taking all of that time and energy that you could be using to be still in these thoughts, in these feelings, in these dark emotions in order to heal? Or are you just looking to make yourself busy with everybody else's stuff, you know? Because oftentimes when we're granted this opportunity to heal, simultaneously come all of these other aspects outside of you, other people, right? Like empath problems. We always want to be there for others. And we mistake our feelings or their feelings as our own and vice versa. And we're not still enough to listen to our inner selves and allow this transformation to take place. With power and freedom here, there's a deep urge within you, soul fam, to break away. No matter what your personal experience and challenge may be, and I will know more in depth of what that is in the extended. I'm talking to a lot of y'all here, and these energies are quite heavy, if you can't tell already by my voice kind of just like shaking it up. There's a lot of trauma work, capital T, to be cut through and to be pushed through. And it is an uphill battle. And no matter how much your muscles may ache climbing up this mountain, the view from the top is worth it. And coming back down is also still going to be a little bit more rough as well, right? Like sometimes people are under the impression, this is me as a hiker speaking right now, that like going downhill is just so much easier, but really you activate a different muscle group. And depending how far it is that you got to go, you will ache just the same. And all of that really kind of cultivates into like one big fucking pain later. And it's okay to take breaks once in a while, and it's okay to say no to others and supporting them, because you're really called, Soul Fam, to prioritize yourself. Collaborate in Death came out together because this is a big message of boundaries. This is also a big message of knowing what is right for you, knowing who and what you're meant to move away from. Sometimes we wish that the people and places and experiences would be with us forever, although if there's anything that this human experience ever teaches us, it's that life goes on and it cycles through. And that's never also to say that what doesn't belong will never belong later. Like if it doesn't work out now, if the timing, quote unquote, is wrong now, perhaps maybe it'll be right later, but you'll never know until you let go. You know, it's like there's all of these reins that they're hanging on to, and sometimes when you clutch too tightly, all the other energy wants to do is run. I'm getting a really big mixed bag message here. So fam, beauty comes out because perhaps maybe you've forgotten just how wonderful you are, how intellectual you are, how gorgeous you are in your own way. If you're a male tuning in, like you're beautiful too. You know, like when was the last time that you adored yourself? That you allowed perhaps some physical strength into your life, movement, to feel proud and happy in your body, in your vessel. Because whatever this energy is for you, and again, it's a mixed bag here. I've discussed a few potential scenarios here, but when was the last time that you allowed yourself to break away from all of that and actually adorn yourself in positive affirmations? My throat chakra is really getting like stuck here. There's a lack of self-worth that is coming up from this due to a death of something, a contract, whether that be marriage, whether that be professional or universal. You know, karmic contracts are a thing as well. Karma could also be a good thing, and there is some form of deceit, some sort of something that has been so disappointing. And I'm sorry, I need to flip this over because wow, the release right there is already made a big difference. There's take a sip of water here. You know, people often talk about setting boundaries or walking away from people, places, and things that are toxic to us, but very rarely do people actually talk about the grief that comes with it, how guilty you feel, how at one point in your life you said you would never give up on that person, place, or thing, and yet here you are, moving away because you know it's for your well-being. And perhaps not even just yours. I'm hearing that there's a family, perhaps some of y'all have kids as well, that you're removing yourself from the situation. You have family that's around you. There's a lot of butterflies here, so this does tell me that this is a transformation that's been a long time coming. Perhaps maybe it's a repeated pattern that has come up time and time again in your personal experiences, perhaps maybe in your family dynamics. You've witnessed people experience very similar things that you have, and you're the one that is now to break that pattern. And when it comes to this Aries energy here, right, power comes from you. And oftentimes when, just bringing in the word narcissist again, just because that's so prevalent here, oftentimes we look at power as something that's really negative, you know, but self-love is a form of power. It's one of my personal favorite affirmations that I feed myself all the time, and that is the acknowledgement that I am powerful. That's how I was able to overcome so much. Knowing that you're capable. And power is a good thing if you know how to use it wisely. I'm sensing, so fam, if you're tuning in, you're still here. You're that type of person that will transmute this power into beauty through yourself. Not in a form of narcissism or vanity, but rather love and well-being. What you're looking to project and let go of is a change that perhaps maybe you never thought possible. And this darkness could very well be you overcoming a really intense grief, whether it be a literal death or just a very massive ending that occurred. There is a grief that you are required to feel. And this is why the journey has been so long and so slow for you, because you're required to feel. You're required to stand still and feel. For those of y'all who need to know this, if this is a breakup of sorts, should you want to, and of course, if they are not the narcissistic type, okay? If you're grieving and ending with a loved one, a counterpart, I'm hearing this could be a twin flame thing there as well. You have the opportunity with your free will and your healing to get back together with this person. And to reverse that, for those of y'all whom are stuck in very negative, harmful situation that perhaps maybe you're confusing someone as like a twin flame or something as well, right? Like, listen, this isn't my twin flame channel, but a true counterpart, your true divine feminine and divine masculine would never abuse you. Sure, they may make mistakes. They may hurt your feelings, their honesty, their actions, but they will never deliberately go out of their way to harm you physically, verbally, or emotionally. They hurt you through unconscious means of shadow aspects of themselves, not intentionally hurting you. They're not going out of their way to harm you. Matter of fact, that's why the runner-chaser dynamic exists, because they don't want to harm you, and so they break things off with you so you can be free. They don't feel good enough for you. You see, like it's more so with the intention of your well-being, and they feel a lot of empathy and pain from being the one person that hurts you. A true narcissist doesn't feel that. So understand, soul fam, that you have the power to walk away. You have the power to heal. However it is that this pile is resonating with you, and I do apologize, it is such a mixed bag. There's a lot of y'all tuning into this. I just want to tell you that you're worth it. You're worth living for. I know some of y'all must have really contemplated some really dark and heavy shit. And I'm feeling that from y'all. And I want you to know that your life is worth living. You are here for a fucking reason. And this is not a good enough excuse for you to end it. Please book a fucking session with me. Or anyone, if not me. Anyone, seek help. It's available to you. The resources will come. The money will come. Now, you are never stuck. If you want it badly enough, everything will work out. You are being asked to look at an aspect of yourself that you've deemed weak and vulnerable for too long. I'm telling you to stand the fuck up right now. Stand up. Because you are capable of more. You are as deserving to be here and deserving to be loved. And it's okay that you've been confused, and it's okay that you were manipulated and tricked, and it's okay that it's been taking you this long. It's okay. You can overcome. The fact of the matter is, you already overcome so much. This will be no different. I am an intuitive reader, so for those of y'all that are wondering if I'm okay, I am. I read energy very strongly, and this is my way of being able to intuitively tell y'all that you're seen, you're felt, even through this fucking screen. You're here for a reason. It's a privilege to connect with you. So take the slow journey if you must. It's worth it. It's worth turning away from what's keeping you locked and shackled in an aspect of yourself that you know you're meant to grow out of, you know you're meant to heal from. The challenge here for y'all is the fact that it's really hard and it feels impossible. And I can't tell you why bad things happen to good people. But I can tell you that you can and will overcome. Spirit wants to say, I love you. Especially if that spirit is from a loved one. I am a psychic medium as well. I'm happy to connect to anyone that you may require me to. I keep wanting to express that there is help available to y'all, Soul Fam, because I feel that so many of y'all believe you are helpless, and that is incorrect. That is a limiting belief that was bestowed upon you, and it is now time to turn away from that. Y'all, please close your eyes. Yep, close your eyes. Take a deep breath through your nose. And exhale through the mouth. Do that a few more times as you need to. You are a vital force. And you are deserving to be here. And you can and will overcome. And you're beautiful and you're capable and you are strong. And it's okay to feel uncomfortable. Just picture yourself really happy, because that also exists. The level and intensity of your darkness has an equal intensity of your light. As deep as you can go is equal to as high as you can go. As above, so below. You miss a version of yourself, and that version still exists. For what it's worth, it truly is an honor to connect with y'all today, and I know this journey is long. And the resources are there, and the power is within you to overcome, and you will find freedom. You will find balance. This card, honestly, it does really remind me of the dolphin card. The only thing is in the middle, they have the yin and yang symbol in that card, and here it's like I don't know what these like swordfish, like I don't know what kind of fish they are. They're cute, but I don't know marine life. But It's very much like the yin yang symbol, you know? And right now, it's like the pain of both masculine and feminine energies within yourselves just kind of hurt to come together. Just know that through the pain comes healing. It's like, I mean, I've never broken a bone in my life, but to anyone who has, because this example is coming through, right? Like when you break something, you require physiotherapy, you require your bones to grow and fix themselves, you know, like there's surgery, there's healing pains that come with that whole process. And you will still be able to walk again. That's just the thing. So it just might take you a little bit longer, and you may need that support. Reach out for that support. Reach out. The right resources will find themselves at your doorstep. You just have to be willing enough to collaborate and find that network of people and experiences, because it exists, soul fam. It exists. I'm going to let this be for now, soul fam. I will happily see y'all in the extended if you feel pulled to meet me there. The link is down below. Send me a fire emoji in the comments down below if this resonated with you. That will be a beautiful symbol of the light and power that lives within you despite the difficulties. And if you need me for anything else, you know how to find me. I love you, soul fam. You can do this. You are capable. You are strong, and you are fucking powerful. All the best to you. Hello, pile number 3. What's up? What it do, baby? It is the next day for me. Pile number 2 wiped me out. I love what I do for y'all. I really do. So if you're here from pile number 2, or if you don't resonate with that, in many ways, I hope you don't. Just know that, like, it's an absolute privilege to be able to sit here with y'all today. So I am excited to dive into your pile. You guys chose the duck rock. Is my duck rock. And you might be like, what is a duck rock? Well, a duck actually chose this for me. I was sitting by the Bow River, reflecting finally on releasing some emotions that for a whole week prior I was unable to, when I had made the conscious decision to follow my intuition and leave the place of Alberta, which was incredibly healing for me. Difficult, but healing, and it brought me so much resolution and recognition of my own self-worth and power and such, and the change that I had made came so swiftly. 8 days prior, I made the decision, and everything worked out almost magically in a way. And I was sitting right by the Bow River on the rocks, kind of weeping to myself. I finally allowed myself to cry because, I mean, anyone who's ever experienced a move knows how challenging that could be. And I was sitting there crying, and a duck came up right at 11:11 a.m., by the way. And this duck was like crying next to me, like it wouldn't leave me alone, and I would walk off and it would just get right into the river and swim towards me consistently. I posted up on my Instagram. Thank you. Like, those are the noises that this beautiful duck made, you know? And it's in experiences like this that the overall spiritual lesson here brought me was the interconnectedness between myself and the universe and spirit, because every single minute of every single day, we are connected to something and someone. Even if physically we feel like we're very alone, we never really truly are. And it was in the form of this duck that I learned this lesson, and it really just resonated for me. And if you guys are wondering how, you can either jump onto my Instagram, not K&M Witchery, although I have that one too, but it's Kat N. Monroe. Yeah, it's on there. I just asked her to pick a rock just by touching it, and this is the one that it chose for me. So yeah, I love this rock. It means a lot to me. I'm gonna maybe place it up here somewhere so it's kind of still in it. But let's dive into your pile, shall we? We have the King of Wands. As well as the Queen of Cups. So regardless if you are more of a masculine nature tuning into this, I am really sensing a more feminine power kind of brewing within y'all. Your intuition could very well have been sparked as of recently. You're learning how to listen to your gut and create magic with it. There are multiple kings in these decks. There is a king that is portrayed by a male as well as a female. In this case, the female came up, and this is one where she's so sure about what she is creating and she's putting out there bravely, ready to defend with all her magic and sexuality, perhaps. Really knowing your inner worth. And again, really trusting your intuition, what it's telling you from the inside out. Intuition is very subtle. That's how you really differentiate that from anxiety, for example. Anxiety is very loud, kind of freaks you out. It's tainted with some form of a fear of the past or the future coming back up. But intuition is very present. It's very here and now, and it's subtle, and it tells you which way to go. And it brings you the surety that you need as you need it. Your next step, if you will. The connection. And it could come in many forms, right? Intuition is also quite illogical. It speaks to us in colors, in feelings, in synchronicities like numbers and dreams and such, right? And it's about looking into the symbolism and what that symbol really means to you. And the lesson here for y'all could perhaps maybe be differentiating reality from intuition for yourself. We're all mad here. It's okay to feel a little kooky and weird and crazy, although you're the absolute opposite. In fact, you're incredibly powerful, and now you're being led down perhaps maybe a road that you resisted for quite some time. Based on my story there, I did not want to move to Europe, and you might be sitting here thinking, like, who wouldn't ever want to move to Europe? And, well, I got comfortable, you know? I felt free in my own way, and my spirit said, there's more for you out there. So conquer that bravely. And I think that's really what's being reflected here for y'all. It's really trusting what's coming up for you despite what it is that you think you want, because your intuition will always give you what it is that you need. I like this so far. Let's dive into what else we got. We have provide. Fear. Okay, that resonates so far with what we've been channeling. I have not seen these cards, by the way. I mean, a couple of them had flipped while I was creating the piles, but for the most part, they're as new to me as they are to you. Joy. I love how that we have fear and joy here. And rest. It's so funny because I pulled rest and I heard spirit say, that's enough of that. Interesting. We'll see what else that means. Answers. Oh, I love this so much. Trust. Yeah. Y'all are really learning to build the rapport with your unconscious mind. That can very well be done through hypnotherapy, by the way. So if you guys are ever interested in that, let me know. Fill out the intake form. Book a consult with me. Let's talk about it. Let's see if you qualify for it, if you're ready for it. And if you are, I am so happy to take you along this journey myself. Otherwise, intuitive readings are available right here, knmwitchery.com. Okay, that is the only place you could ever book with me. And I'm ready to receive y'all. If not with me, go to someone else that you feel could intuitively lead you back towards yourself and towards your essence. The last card out we have is miracles. Oh my gosh. Pile 3, y'all have a really beautiful energy and you underestimate it. You really do. I just heard pile 1, so you may have actually come from pile number 1. Or you may be prompted to tune into that. Don't take my word for it. Just trust that gut, okay? Only go if that is where your intuition tells you to flow, all right? Answers and trust come out here to really maximize on that need to go within and have faith that what's coming up for you right now, no matter how uncomfortable it is, that it is in fact meant for you. So if it's a person, place, or thing that you are being called to or pulled away from, know that it's happening now for a divine reason. And we're stubborn creatures, okay? If y'all are tuning into my energy, boy, I do be stubborn, okay? It was months until I actually, in fact, decided to move away from my comfort space, from my peace, from my what I perceived as my sanity, because I found that rest, you know? I found that calmness and joy that lived within me. And honestly, I was fearful of what the future would provide me, right? And so the reason why I'm going back to the story and I'm telling you all this is because I've been where you are right now. And even through this, you're being called to trust that within all of these obstacles that lie in the way are going to be beautiful moments of clarity and of peace and of wonder and of the miracles that you are seeking. When we have full trust and faith in ourselves and what this human experience brings us, things just tend to align magically. I mentioned I moved in 8 days. I made the decision to move. So I broke off my rent. I was also in school for hypnotherapy at that time too, getting my certification. So I had all of that hours spent, plus also packing up all of my shit into boxes and like getting move trucks and stuff. Like, how did everything get sorted out within a week? Was a miracle on its own, and yet swiftly, magically, beautifully, it aligned. So take my experience and my story as something that you yourself can, in your own way, mirror and project onto yourself. Think about the amount of time, Soul Fam, in your life that when you've made a concrete decision, one that really followed your faith, how things just worked out beautifully. It's almost like you made it look so damn easy. And honestly, listen, pile number 3, what I'm sensing from y'all is something that I'm guilty of myself. We make shit look hella easy. People underestimate the amount of blood, sweat, and tears that goes into our lives and our routines and what it is that we decide to make with them. Right? Like, people don't really quite see that we are afraid too. And I can sense that fear within you. It's like some things like Lume, I'm hearing dana, 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 dana. But how easily can this fear just get placed down, right? Like you put your hand on the nose of a shark and guide it the other way and it'll follow just by turning its head. And perhaps that's what's required for you as well. Yes, fear lies within your current experience, and so does joy. Fly above all of that perceived fear that you have and see what comes up for you. Why not? Why not? Also, I'm hearing with the rest here to listen to your dreams. Okay, just one more story here. I was actually called to move to Alberta. I've never been to Alberta, but I had a dream that a woman handed me a magnet, and this magnet had the initials AB with a little tiny red maple leaf in the center of it. And I resonated on this dream for a few days. 2 to 3 days later, I called up my mom and said, hey, I'm moving to Alberta. And she's like, why? Why not BC? And I was like, no, Alberta, that's where I gotta go. I listened to my intuition, and literally my dream just gave it to me. Now I'm highly clairvoyant, so perhaps maybe you're not much of a dreamer because you lack the appropriate levels of interpretation that your unconscious mind is hoping that you would take. So you may feel certain things, you may see certain things, you may interact with people and you have common phrases come up, or perhaps maybe you are swiping around on social media and there is a particular message that is consistently coming up. Let me guess, mine's one of them. Trust in that, yo, because like, again, intuition is subtle. Building the trust and faith in and around that, yes, can sometimes be scary. And you must also always understand and know that you are forever protected and provided for. What you seek is seeking you. And it's when we're at this crossroads where, you know, you're at the borderline and you have one foot on one side and the other on the other side, very Walk to Remember from that scene. For those of y'all who resonate, you know, I'm at two places at once. Beautiful. But intuitively, and in order to manifest being in two places like that, it doesn't really work out. You gotta leap. Choose one. And I just heard choose wisely. Because you're sleeping on yourself, right? This is where that message of that's enough of that when it comes to rest comes up. It's actually a myth that bears are forever hibernating for months and months. They take breaks, they come out. Sometimes they're still hungry. Perhaps they haven't gathered enough for their hibernation, and so they go out to hunt to relieve themselves from all bodily fluids. Like, they're not just asleep for months and months and months, dead to the world. No, sometimes you still got to get out. Right now, your hibernation is essentially kind of over, is what Spirit is prompting here. You've been in two places at once for too long, or you've been in one place for long enough, and now it's time to see what the rest of the world has in store for you. Okay, don't tell all the other piles this, but I'm actually going to pull some more cards for y'all because I would love to see. So I'm going to use the original tarot for y'all and get some more messages here, all right? The Nine of Coins, the Six of Cups, the Page of Swords. I'm hearing one more. Whoop! Oh, damn it. All right. The Five of Coins. Bottom of the deck here is the Ten of Wands. Okay, so fam, listen to me, please. This may very well be a business endeavor that you're looking to dive into. It could perhaps maybe even be, because I'm hearing different things for all of y'all. Remember, this is a general YouTube reading, so only take what resonates for y'all, okay? I'm channeling it a bunch of y'all right now. It could very well be that you are getting called to a particular lover, okay? I just heard lovers in the dangerous time. What does that mean? I don't know for y'all, but perhaps let me know in the comments down below. By the way, if this resonates with y'all, like this pile, what emoji can I give y'all? A duck. Give me a little duck emoji. Holla, let me know, okay? Trust in the interconnectedness of it all, by the way. But you may very well be pulled to exploring something of the past, right? When the Six of Cups comes up, this is a really beautiful intertwining of the past coming into the forefront. It's like almost like, okay, I just heard Aries North Node. So that is a transit that we are currently experiencing right now for the next 18 months. Although this is a timeless reading, take it as it does resonate again. But this just basically means that anything as an inner child that you have perhaps maybe really desired, like let's say it's in a form of a relationship, right? Perhaps maybe it's someone that you have dated or really wanted to date, but now you have this really wonderful opportunity to actually come together, and it requires you to step out of your comfort zone and listen to that intuition that is weighing very heavy on y'all, by the way. Okay, it's time to let it all go. Let all of those excuses go. Let all of that, like, just say no to what no longer serves, and just trust that regardless of the dangerous time, you can still move forward. Okay, and you can do so confidently because you've built up something for yourself. And yet this is a beautiful 9 of coins energy. It is one of independence. It is one of self-security and also faith in intuition, because that's what initially had brought you there. And you're still missing a coin, you know? And when we bring in the 10 of coins into the mix, you see this beautiful family. You see an interconnectedness of it all, right? So I honestly wouldn't be surprised if, again, y'all resonate with pile number 1, because there is a means here of going against being alone and being in solitude, and again, like, just kind of hermiting, if you will, and stepping out. And so if perhaps maybe this isn't something that has to do with a relationship, like perhaps maybe you're really happy in a relationship right now and you're like, Kat, like, this doesn't really resonate, that's fine. What about if it's a business? What about if it's something, a creative venture that you've always wanted to embark on as a teenager? Or fuck that, maybe if you're 50 tuning in and something in your 30s, there's something that you really wanted to do, but now Spirit is actually giving you the opportunity to do that. Let go of your damn excuses, okay, and move forward. The moon underneath here is telling me that it's all intuitively led, okay? Same thing goes for a business venture, right? Something that you've always wanted to do is now coming back around. Perhaps maybe it's a place that you've always wanted to visit, and now you have this opportunity to actually, in fact, go travel. Why are you talking yourself out of experiencing something that could be really wonderful, despite you perhaps maybe even having to do it alone? Right? Maybe stepping out of your comfort zone means that you have to let go of the reins that other people have placed upon you, right? When it comes to the 10 of Wands, like, this is us saying yes and people pleasing all the time, so much so that you are literally taking on all of these different things, being forced to carry it along, when really you could just let it all go. You let it go, let it go. Do, 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 do. Yes, there's this beautiful faith and power within y'all, man. I'm telling you. I tell you. So the Page of Swords here asks you to really, truly explore that, okay? And notice how his face is turning away from this 5 of Pentacles, right? When the 5 of Pentacles comes in, this is essentially a perceived lack of value. Like, you can't be helped. Like, things will never change. And you're being, quote unquote, realistic. I'm just being realistic, Kat. You don't understand. Okay, great. But, like, I can still choose to see rainbows and everything and allow that to be reality as well. Like, who said that realism only has to be from a pessimistic standpoint and perspective? Why can't your reality be something that is outside of the quote unquote norms and how you've perceived them to be for so long? Why not? Right? These are the types of questions that the Page of Swords is asking you to dive into right now. Because you can. Why not? And you can research as well. Page of Swords is one of research. But they're facing towards all of this, including, in a way, this 9 of coins. Right there in the middle of something that is rightfully yours. It's something's coming back around for y'all. Time and time again, and like, I'm hearing you're ready for it now. There's a reason why it didn't work out before. Fine. Perhaps maybe that reason was you choosing to remain into these limiting beliefs. Because when it comes to the 5 of coins in general, like, the lights are on in this church, okay? They can get warm. They can find shelter, help, food. They're choosing not to. They're choosing to remain little and small. The thing is, though, is that you're much greater than that, soul fam. This energy right here, these people within this card are feeding into the fears more than they are choosing the joy. They're turning away from that joy. It's time to maybe explore something new. And also have faith that you're truly ready in that, right? Like, whatever it is that you may perhaps want to embark on, you may feel like you need to improve in some form or another, gain more information to an almost like too much of a degree, right? Like there is the too much gene could just very well be kicking in, right? Where it's like, I can't do this because I need to be certified, and I can't do this because I need to learn more, and I can't do this because I need to it's very much in the mental body as well. Okay, what we're looking to do right now is integrate the physical body and trust that you have everything that you need in order to receive, because whatever it is that you are receiving is beautiful. Like, it's a beautiful bouquet. It's yours now. Allow the surprises, even through the discomforts, to guide you on your way. Let go of what no longer serves you, soul fam. No matter how comfortable you've been doing it. This especially goes out to my people pleasers out there who are afraid to say no, thinking that people are going to disown them. And if they do, honestly, they weren't meant for you and this beautiful new journey that you are about to embark on. Because the fact of the matter is, when it comes to this miracle card, mountains are often a symbol of obstacles. And yet within these obstacles are beautiful glints of joy, of paradise. And as someone whom is a hiker, loves to go up to the summit of things and looking down, and like it gives you a clearer perspective. And right now you have this opportunity to go on up, to see something from a completely different line of sight and a line of perspective. And in fact, maybe even reflect on how far you've come. Because why not? Notice how much you have grown, soul fam. Notice the power that lies within you. And trust your damn self. The answers already lie within you. You already have everything that it is that you're seeking. Oh, death. See, like, let it go. This isn't like death isn't like, you know, like literal. It's an absolute ending. It's a transmutation of energy. This is coming from a psychic medium, okay? Death, it's just a logical perspective, okay? Like thinking that something's come to an end. How is it that I'm able to channel in messages from people whom have passed on that I have never met, with complete strangers in front of me on a Zoom call? You know? It's just a transmutation of energy. Things just change. And oftentimes you can't really truly always see that change, but you can feel it. You can embrace it in your own really cool way. There are no coincidences. What comes up is for you. You already know. Sorry, this thing just keep hitting my stand. I'm hearing an applause. For anyone whom this may concern, if you have been asking for a sign, trust what comes up. It's so funny because it's like, I have this a lot with like my patrons and my clients and such, where they're like, I've asked for a sign, and then I asked for another one, and then I asked for another one, because I'm like, I need to clarify. Can you just stop clarifying shit? Because then you're just going to keep either getting it on repeat to the point that like you're literally going to get drowned in like 8888888 everywhere you freaking look, where it's like, how much more of a sign do you need? It's about integrating the physical human experience to push forward, right? It's about integrating what your intuitive mind, that deep knowing that you already have, into the physical realm, and allowing it to just unleash with pure faith within yourself. She's a flower. Again, gender aside, she is literally the abundance that she is seeking. And putting more of that out there with true faith and confidence. And I'm hearing sexuality. I'm hearing authenticity. Your own way. To have trust and faith in that. Like, look at this. This is beautiful imagery. Regardless of the storms that are around, she has faith that everything's going to work out. And like, I don't know about y'all, but like I love gloomy weather. I love winter. I love storms, you know, as long as everyone's safe, because I know there's unfortunately a lot going on in this world as far as that's concerned. And what I'm saying is, though, is sometimes like the clearest, most beautiful day can also use a little rain. And perhaps maybe we need a little bit of fog in order to see things differently and feel our way through, you know? I think y'all are really looking for more of like the logical perspective of things, and you're being called away from that. You really are. Taurus may have some significance to anyone whom that may concern. I typically choose to stay away from astro signs and such, because I do believe in the generality of all messages. There's always something that will resonate with people whom are seeking it. But forever, whoever needed that, there you go. Yeah, you know what? What I'm gonna do is, because I'm getting shut down here. Spirit saying that's enough, Kat. It's time to move on to the extended. So I'm going to follow suit. Okay. If you want more, the link is down below in the description. I will see y'all on Patreon. You will have access to all extended readings, okay, as well as daily insight. How to build this beautiful rapport with your unconscious mind and your intuition. Okay, that's all available to you. Drop a duck emoji down below. And of course, if this is where we part, if I see you in another pile, great. If I see you in another reading, great. Either way, I hope you guys join the soul fam. Know that I am extending so much love and appreciation to you. And like, again, your spirit team is clapping for you as soon as you action whatever this is for y'all, okay? It's time to move away the fear, okay? We're just going to say goodbye to that, okay? We're going to know that we are very well provided for, and we have all of the joy that we need to move forward, okay? Don't mind my accent. I have no idea what I'm... Okay, I love you guys. I'll see you in the extended. Peace. Hello, what's up? What is pile 4? Happy you are here. You chose my in-between rock. I actually found it hiking in between Poland and Slovakia. I was on the side of the road, kind of making my way out, and I saw something really beautiful in green in the corner of my eye. And there was a couple other little tiny pieces that are obviously not shown here, but if anyone knows what type of crystal or rock this is, I keep hearing jade, but like, y'all, I don't know shit about crystals. This ultimately, as far as any spiritual lessons are concerned, has really taught me to be okay with the here and now, right? I may not exactly be where I want to be, and I'm not whom I was before, but where and whom I am right now is more than enough. And there's a lot of really beautiful surprises along the way, even if you don't fully understand what they are just yet. So that's that. I just turned off my AC, and that bitch just keeps buzzing like crazy. So if it happens, my bad, honestly, but like, it is what it is. Let's see what lies behind these cards for you. We have the Hanged Man first. Very Alice in Wonderland-esque, don't you think? And then we have the Ace of Swords. Okay. New perspectives are to be had. New forms of understanding are being created right now. New neural pathways, potentially. There's something new. There's oftentimes when the Hangman comes in, it's like your world was literally flipped upside down. But the fact that it's also partnered with the Ace of Swords means that there is a clarity that is to come from this particular experience, and thus it was meant to be. Hanged Man being a major arcana means that this was in perfect divine timing, scheduled to be what it is. There's lots of messengers in and around you. I'm getting pulled to all of the little birds that surround her. So pay attention to the outside noise as you are also reflecting inwardly, right? there's something about the zipper as well that I'm really pulled to right now. It's like things aren't exactly what they seem, that there's more to what the eye can see and what the ear can hear and such like that. And thus, you hold the key to the next step, to the next knowing, to the next, I'm hearing, version of yourself. This gets really deep. I really love that this person is literally wearing like a cloak made out of the galaxy. Oh, and I just noticed that the keyhole is literally in the shell of the mind, and you're holding it. It's like you already have exactly what it is that you need, and yet we're in a required stagnant position. This actually really does, like, okay, so like when I'm flipping all of these cards, I don't quite know exactly what lies behind, right? Like usually when I do pick a cards, I do my best to make sure that all of the cards are like facing downwards. So it's a surprise to me as much as it is for you, but I just love the way that I managed to intuitively partner all of like my stones and rocks with the messages, because this particular one, right? As I mentioned, I was in between two countries walking along, hiking. I just wanted to check out some new different things, I suppose, that were slightly out of reach. And yet I just put on my hiking boots and I kept on going. And I was in this really tiny, tiny village, Yurguf, that I stayed for 6 weeks in. And I had planned to work there. I had all of these client meetings and such, which most of them had to be rescheduled because I was put in such a position that like the internet wasn't working. Like things that were out of my control just kept happening, forcing me to stay in my solitude, to stay in the here and now, and just be in a more stagnant position spiritually, right? Like physically, I kept moving everywhere, hiking like 20, 25 kilometers a day, like just kind of out doing what it is that I'd got to do. But the fact that I was so disconnected from the external world had me connect to what is in and around me that is attainable. And that also had allowed me to really learn something about myself. And I think that what your lesson here is, pile number 4, is that you are developing a new relationship with yourself. For those who believe that they have everything that they need to know about themselves and they know themselves through and through, I really question that logic, because I believe that we are ever changing, and I think that every experience that comes up is for a reason, as cliche as it may be, right? But it introduces something new, and often things from the past that we've forgotten about, like unconsciously come up to the surface for us to reflect on, to heal, to let go of, or to grasp, and I think y'all are in this really beautiful position of self-reflection, self-awareness. I'm hearing accountability. It's very peaceful here. So let's see what other cards we got. We have Grow. Pretty self-explanatory thus far. Trick. Okay. Here, before I move on, what's coming up for me here is what seems to be like an eye with like a swirl in it, right? So as much as I'm saying pay attention to all the clues and synchronicities in and outside of you, be very mindful that your eyes aren't really quite deceiving you, right? Like things are not quite as they seem. Okay, very Alice in Wonderland-esque. Seriously. Let's see what else we got. We have determination. Okay, I like that there's a lot of like balancing imagery that's coming into play. Pisces might be in your chart. I just heard Saturn. So at the point, like this is a, whatchamacallit reading, timeless reading. But the current transit in place as I'm recording this, Saturn is in Pisces. So you may kind of be getting slapped into like new forms of reality, right? Where you're seeing things quite differently, and perhaps maybe you have to work a little bit harder. I just heard fish out of water. Now, I have no idea what kind of fish this is. I'm not really knowledgeable in like the marine life, but nevertheless, there is some form of perseverance and perception that perhaps maybe causes you to step out of the water, you know, like it's like you're a fish that leaped out of the ocean for the first time and realized that there's a whole new world out there, you know? Seagulls are flying about. I'm literally hearing seagulls right now. So there may be something about like a beach or like a lake house or like something about that. Perhaps maybe the sea. I am smelling literally like sea salt right now. Ooh. I live relatively close right now to the Baltic Sea, and like that's just what's really coming to my forefront right now. So something about water just may be really important to you. If it has nothing to do with Pisces, the overall principle and energy of Pisces is what is really coming out here, right? We also have secret. Yeah. And there's another key and a lock. Look at that. I do really like the fact that this is represented by crows, if not ravens. They are the messengers of the deep, the dark, the occult, if you will. And the fact that there is all of this yellow here, you're really grounding something new into yourself. Again, there's some form of awakening that is taking place right now. I think it's the opposite of a previous group where they were going through a dark night of the soul. Y'all are going through some form of awakening. Yep, clarity comes out here to confirm that even more. You may very well even be developing a new psychic ability. Just so you know, I do offer psychic training, okay? I have been a psychic medium my entire life. And I've really dove into ways of not only building on specific types of psychic abilities, but training them and teaching them in a much more logical perspective. So if y'all are ever interested in that, right here, knmwitchery.com, that's where you find my shit, okay? Just saying, that is available to you if you would ever be interested. We have boundaries. Yup. Big sense of protection that came up with this message here, okay? Also knowing that, like, I know that there are a lot of esoteric rituals, if you will, that exist out there. You can call upon particular ancestors, angels, demons, if you kind of dabble in that kind of thing. And no, not every single demon is like a bad thing. Like, anyways, the concept of good and bad doesn't really quite exist in spirituality. It's just how it is that you go about and use this energy. But okay, we're just gonna shove that conversation aside before I digress entirely. The protection and the magic that you are seeking already lives within you. Okay. Being a natural spiritual entity comes from within. It's not always about seeking the external guidance and the external confirmations, but being in the present here and now and knowing that it lies deeply within you, within that heart space, right? And this is that ultimate connection to source, to yourself, right? And being able to ground all of that quantum energy that you're receiving into your body and into this human experience. Because to get lost in the spiritual journey and the ascension kind of takes away from the overall principle of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, ascension, oftentimes people would state that it's like you're going above, like you're going higher, like your higher self, right? We've all heard that, right? It's about really climbing up that spiritual ladder. Although, what if I told you that that's just a very egoic way of perceiving spirituality? What if I told you that true ascension is actually you peeling back the onion layers of yourself and going back into your heart, into your overall truest essence, right? Like, you are the key. It already lives within your mind, within your soul. Ooh, this is a fun reading. I love this kind of shit. Last card, we have success. Beautiful. So whatever sort of ascension that you are embarking on, I was going to say ascending on, but it's like, duh, embarking on, you are going to find success in it. You're going to find a ton of clarity within that, right? There are many different types of psychic abilities. Please have patience with me. I am currently in the midst of actually creating varying different types of videos in and around all of the different types of clairs that exist. I personally, I tap into about like 6 or 7 of them on a daily basis, although I have accessibility to almost all of them. And that's not really like to boost, that's just to say that like you can learn, right? Claircognizance compared to like the rest of the collective is actually something that I lacked, which is that psychic knowing. And while I was embarking down this whole like spiritual training aspect of it, right? Because I never really went through a big awakening. I just had a bunch of realizations about like my truest essence, right? Because like I said, I was born a psychic, right? Like I've got stories from my parents whom had witnessed people whom had passed on literally walk over to my crib as a baby, just to greet me and such, right? So like this is something that has just been who I am. But the understanding is what I significantly lacked. You know, I felt crazy. I didn't really know and understand why is it that I can literally be standing there and someone could be standing next to the person that I am talking to and they have no knowledge about it. They have no conscious awareness about it. And they would then project onto me saying like, okay, like you're crazy, or maybe you shouldn't say certain things out loud, you know, like, but it was there. You know, they were there. And I can hear what they were saying. I can feel them if I couldn't see them. And no one can tell me otherwise. So when I dove into a lot of this esoteric knowledge, I ended up, in fact, quote unquote, accidentally and inadvertently teaching myself claircognizance. So I unlocked that for myself while I was diving into it, because this is a really prevalent type of psychic ability that lives throughout most of the collective, and it's disguised as your own voice in your head. You know, like your intuition is you. And even if you are the type of person whom perhaps maybe doesn't have like an internal dialogue, then I would even argue that you're more clairvoyant, because you would see colors, you would see shapes, you would see words, right? As opposed to actually hearing something, which is also different from clairaudient, because if you are clairaudient, y'all are getting like a whole lesson here. If you are clairaudient, the voices that are in your head are not your own, you know? So yeah, we're all mad here. And by here, I mean in myself, my brain. And I feel confident in letting y'all know certain things like this, because I think that y'all are really embarking on a self-discovery path that feels so different. And I want y'all to know that you are never alone, that there are people like you, and you have your own beautiful mixture of psychic abilities, right? Like no clairvoyant is the same, no psychic medium is the same, no empath is the same. How it is that we absorb information and dissect it and interpret it is different. It's another reason why I am an intuitive reader as opposed to a traditional tarot reader. Y'all know, because I shift away from what has been programmed, such as religion, for example, and that, that's not me hating on religion at all. It's just, it's too organized for me. It's too, like, there's too many rules, you know? Meanwhile, spirituality is believing that this power lives within you rather than something externally from you. Like, the concept of God is you. The concept of universe is you. The concept of angels and demons and all of that, like, that's you. That still lives within you. And there's a polarity to everything. I get really excited about all of this. So just know that, like, you're not crazy. Even though it may feel like that. It may feel like you're getting tricked, like your mind is playing games on you, like your body is playing games on you, but nah, you're just formulating a new way of understanding and of connecting. And that's really fun. Just be sure that you are calling upon the protection that you require, right? So being more consciously aware of that protection, you can absolutely start saging, using Palo Santo more often, lighting a candle before you do anything, okay? But like, if you don't have such things available to you, just closing your eyes and envisioning a white light coming from your chest and surrounding you is enough. And if you're unable to visualize it, feel it. However it is that you conjure up memories, that is the ability that you would use. So sometimes people, when they think of something of the past, they may hear something, they may feel something, right? Like you don't always have to be visualizing something, right? This also goes towards like meditation, for example, you know. Sometimes people are like, yo, but like, Kat, sorry, like I'm not seeing these things, right? And they get really frustrated with themselves. And I'm like, okay, but are you feeling it? Are you hearing it in your mind's ear? Not mind's eye, but your mind's ear. You know, how is it that you are interacting with this experience? Because there is no wrong or right. It's just you and your essence. So keep peeling back those onion layers, you know, like keep going into yourself, and just know that, again, you're never alone. And there are many methods of connection that exist out there. Different forms of occults, different forms of religion, different forms of connection in general, different ways of teaching. I personally choose to go more so the authentic route that is best suited for the person that I am teaching and training. So feel free, book with me, take the training course with me, or just have an intuitive session with me, okay? And we can really dive in, because this is my fucking specialty, and as y'all can tell, I get really excited about it. You are really growing, and this growth requires you to cut certain beliefs that no longer belong in order for you to grow new ones, right? Like the really cool thing about like lizards, at least most of them, I can't speak for all of them, I guess, but like if they get like their tail bit off or cut off or like whatever, something happens, like they literally grow a new one, you know? And so whatever it is that you are in the process of really letting go of, perhaps maybe you were religious and now you're spiritual, or vice versa, right? You were going more so of a spiritual route, or perhaps maybe agnostic, atheist, right? Like you don't really quite believe in certain things, and yet somehow, some way, things just kept kind of emerging from the dark that have you seeing things differently, have you interpreting things quite differently. Like I said, it's like you're that fish out of water, right? It's like all your life you're swimming in these streams and lakes or oceans and such, and then whew, you decide to just jump out of that water and you see the sky, or an island with a whole city on it, and people and all of these concepts. It's like I literally have the Little Mermaid in my head right now, you know what I mean? It's like just like it's a whole new world. And this could very well be you like jumping timelines, jumping like dimensions, so to speak, right? The only thing I'm gonna say again is the only way through all of this is to remain in your body. Stop trying to dissociate and consistently like meditate or like, you know, go outside of yourself, because that's where things can get very dangerous, right? There is, again, a really big message here about like self-preservation and taking accountability for the human experience. You are a soul having a human experience, not a human having a spiritual experience, okay? That is the big lesson here, I would say, for y'all, okay? So pay attention to that, right? And know that it's actually going to be a really fun way for you to embark on new different types of adventures, right? Like the really cool thing about being so in tune with yourself and with spirit and you know, whatever kind of words you want to put in place there, is that like things just really end up working out better than you'd ever expected them to. And it's like magic, you know, like that sort of alignment is something that like you can't make shit up, you know. And you can very well have an easier means of manifesting things, right? Like you start incorporating all of those universal laws, right? Attraction and assumption and all of that, you know, and that's great. That's just the logical perspective of certain things. When you start living in your essence, in your spirituality, you then start confidently showing up as your most authentic self, regardless of how others may perceive you, because you see something differently. You hold the secrets to the universe within your soul, within your heart, within your mind. You start building rapport with your unconscious mind. It's a lot of the reason why after a while, I was psychic my whole life, as I keep mentioning, right? But then I came out as a psychic, which was terrifying for me. 2020 was a big year for me, man, as it was for many people, although I really internalized that opportunity for myself, you know? I was forced to be also secluded and by myself, right? I was intuitively led to leave a province where all of my family and friends, like I knew nobody where it is that I moved. And it was that in between, you know, that I learned so much about myself, and it brought me back to understanding things in such a way that had me boldly state, okay, here I am, this is what I do. And even though I trembled, and I posted a YouTube video of my like quote like coming out as a psychic medium where I cried, and it's super embarrassing and you can't find it anymore because I privated it. I still came out. Like that was just my bold way of saying, hey, I'm here, you know. And times have changed for me. The experience, the human experience of me showing up and just showing out and learning and taking these opportunities in for myself, right? Not only for myself, but also by paying it forward there as well. Doing what it is that I do allowed me to formulate an even deeper understanding, and thus I grew into a new me. And that whole concept of like being a new me happens fucking consistently. You know, it's like once a year I evolve, so to speak, like at least twice. And it sounds like a bunch of hoopla and stuff, you know, like, and I understand that like people will judge the journey. But until you're on it and you're living in it and you're breathing in it, like that's when you're really going to know. And it doesn't always have to work out for other people, you know, and that's where we have to also welcome in the lack of judgment, right? Because if you are judging others for their path, right? Like you're going about it very egotistically, you know, like your way isn't just the only way. Hence why I mentioned I go about it more the authentic route that's for the individual, right? Like we're all hanging on and holding such a finite, independent, and individual type of spiritual blueprint, and it's right for us. That is the ultimate success, you know. So you may come across guides and people whom perhaps maybe in some aspects really align with you, and in others they really don't, right? Like I've come across many of them myself on this journey to wanting to find like a mentor and such, right? Where after a while I was like, damn, like you're really trying to make me out to be another you, or like have me believe in concepts that they believe aren't true or true, but they are to me, you know? Like I had someone once tell me that telepathy isn't real, but like, how can you tell me that if I can literally be connecting to someone, let's say throughout an intuitive reading online, never met them before, and without them even saying a single freaking word, I'm voicing out the questions that they have for me before they even have a chance to say them out loud. It's a beautiful jaw-dropping experience, but it happens all the damn time. You know, like I you can't make this sort of shit up. And even throughout that process, like I felt crazy, and that's okay. Standing in my authenticity and knowing that I hold the secrets to my own little universe and I'm able to share that forward is what allows me to consistently keep on growing and evolving and learning new aspects of myself, incorporating and infusing things from the past and from the future into the here and now. And I think that that's what y'all get to do here now too. That was a really long spiel. But like, I'm hoping that y'all are feeling really pumped about this, because like, you're ascending, baby. Y'all are ascending, okay? So like, if you're resonating with this, please drop like a star emoji down below, okay? So I know which pile you're from. You could be from multiple piles, but like, just know, soul fam, that you are incredibly powerful. You are so unique, and you are highly intuitive, and you are capable of discovering things that is really bound to bring you the clarity that not only you are meant to embark on and embrace yourself, but also pay forward, okay? Because honestly, I'm sensing y'all are some serious healers, some serious gurus, you know? Like, I think your success also is what's going to come out of you following your intuition, even if you don't really have like an intuitive business of your own, right? Like, I heard Reiki. You could be a crystal consultant. There's a few of those that I had, consulted with. There's, like tarot readers and such like that. Like, you could very well be in this kind of realm. Either way, you are growing into that, right? So like, if perhaps maybe you have a business that's outside of that, like you're in real estate or some shit, you know what I mean? Like, that's not really esoteric involved at all. And yet, using your intuition, you're going to be able to just trust and know how it is to price certain types of projects and houses, right? Or like which areas to really look in. Like, that's the way that you can be utilizing your intuition, and thus enabling more success to come your way and for the other, right? There is a big message here. It's a great form of protection too. It's to not always be so very selfish with your abilities there as well, right? Do it for others as well, like pay it forward, right? Like, so using the real estate example, right? Not only can you get a big bang for your buck, but you can also help that person that, partnered up with you as your client to actually find the home that they're desiring and sell it in such a way that makes them happy and brings them joy in their own way, So just be mindful of that. Although, that's kind of just like like a side note kind of thing, because if you're tuning into me and my energy, y'all are some wholesome ass people, and I love to see it. So without further ado, I think we should just dive on into the extended, because I'm excited to keep this ball rolling. We're going to dive into some really helpful, practical, spiritual advice to help you further advance in this beautiful esoteric knowledge and self-awareness and such. If you don't decide to come on into the what am I doing? To the extended, that's okay. Pick another pile, or I'll see you in another reading and such. Please be sure to subscribe and join the Soul Fam tribe. But either way, it's an honor to have connected with y'all, and I hope this messaging helped you in any way that it was meant to. And shine on, babes. Just shine on. See you later. Bye.